Welcome to the Spoiler Room, where we watch the first and most recent episode of a TV series. This week we talk about Law & Order, the original. I'm here with Aamir and Tommy. So Aamir, I believe you've seen Law & Order before. I know you enjoy Criminal Intent and you've seen SVU. Have you seen any of the original before?
I've never seen any of the original show until this week, actually, yeah.
Oh, interesting. What about you?
Yes, I've seen a bunch of episodes of the original show, and of course SVU.
Yeah.
Never seen Criminal Intent, or Trial by Jury, or UK.
What about LA?
No, LA neither.
Organized crime?
Not organized crime.
Oh. Wait, is Trial by Jury the one with the miniseries?
Yes. Well, I don't think it's meant to be. It's like a one-season thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. One of those miniseries where it's like, if we don't want to do a season 2, it's a miniseries. Yeah. A classic. So we watched the first episode that aired back in 1990 today, Prescription for Death. Season 1, Episode 1. Young girl goes into the hospital for, was it chest pain?
She had a headache.
Yeah, headache.
Yeah.
And a few hours later, she's found dead. So what were your thoughts on the episode?
I was actually pleasantly surprised. Like, I was expecting, like, back in the 90s, long, like 33 years ago, like, that's a third of a century. I was expecting to be a lot, cheesier and, kind of like more like, weird, but it felt very modern. Like, I felt like they could have, like, there were some, like, off-color jokes that wouldn't have flown today, but, like, besides that, like, I felt like it felt, like, pretty modern. And just goes to show, like, Dick Wolf's, how his system and his style and how his, really his template really transferred over through all of the series and continue till today.
But yeah, I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of the episode personally. I think it had a lot of potential as, the first episode of a new long-running series, but I don't think that the director did a great job. But I definitely think that it's clear that they must have improved as time went on, because I've seen a lot of SVU, and I think SVU has great direction in general. I'm not sure if it's the same director, but I just didn't see that much in this pilot for the original Law & Order.
So the actual original pilot aired as Season 1, Episode 6, but it was originally filmed for CBS. But then when CBS chose not to pick up the show, NBC ended up picking it up and then bumping that episode to number 6.
It was a pretty good investment by NBC because they kind of made that their entire brand, Dick Wolf shows.
Yeah.
I guess going back to that episode, though, I guess one thing that I think I was being a little bit unfair with on my first watch was that the subject matter itself was just clearly not as exciting as, like, a standard, like, homicide. Every Law & Order episode has, not every, but you'd say the wide majority has, like, the police part and then the courtroom part. I'd say the courtroom part was much stronger than the policing part, personally. I think they were kind of rushing through the investigation. But the courtroom part, I thought that was pretty brilliant, and the twists and turns in that one. So I think the episode got better as it went.
I'd agree with that. I felt the law or the order. Which one's the law? Is the cops. The order is the lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought order was definitely stronger. I felt the law part was just like them, there was too many interviews of like people, and they kept going back to interview the same people. It was like felt just very like ping pongy back and forth.
I will say the one thing I did like about the pacing of this is it didn't feel like it did jump around from interview to interview, keeping your attention a bit. It wasn't like, I feel like some shows nowadays, particularly network shows, will sometimes like really drag out a scene, like they're trying to drag it to 44 minutes, whereas like this one had so much stuff they're trying to fit in it, like it ended pretty abruptly. Like as soon as the trial was over, they didn't like stick around for another 15 minutes like some shows do, just talking about how they feel about the events of the episode. They just ended.
No, I was shocked by the end. That took me by surprise. I thought it'd be like at least like a 1 or 2 minute wind down. It was like nope, guilty, end of the episode. Oh, the other thing was like, oh, my father was a drunk too. End of episode. That was it. That was the wind down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they. I didn't watch the rest of the first season or the rest of anything besides the first and last. But I wonder if they developed that part of the story. I know they talk about in SVU Cragen's alcohol problems. I think that becomes like a really major plot point in one of like the specials. So I'm glad there's like some continuity there in character building. But I wonder if for that other detective, if it, you know, they're building on stuff later that they introduced in this episode.
I mean, he left the show, so...
Yeah, I forget the other detective, but the main one, Detective Mike Logan, played by Chris North, who's... is it Big or Mr. Big on Sex and the City?
I think it's Mr. Big.
Mr. Big. He was on the show for seasons 1 through 5, and then he was let go due to a salary dispute, kind of like Christopher Maloney on SVU. He was later brought back for, I think it was a made-for-TV movie. I don't think it was in theaters. Exiled, a Law & Order movie. And then he was on seasons 4 through 7 of Criminal Intent.
Oh, okay. Love the Law and Order cinematic universe thing that going on. It's great.
Speaking of the Law and Order cinematic universe, the ADA in this episode, District Attorney Ben Stone, he was the district attorney only for the first 4 seasons, and then very famously Sam Waterston started playing Jack McCoy, who we'll talk about later. But District Attorney Ben Stone, he played him for 4 seasons. In season, I want to say 8, season 19, he had in the universe, they don't show this on screen, he had a son named Peter who became a lawyer in the very short-lived show Chicago Justice, which had about 13 episodes. And then they enjoyed his character so much, they brought him onto SVU for about 2 seasons.
Wow, that's cool.
The other thing I wanted to bring up about this episode, that the doctor, the guy that was found guilty, during the trial, they say a 55-year-old man. I fact-checked this because we watched this we all watched this episode together. We thought 55 seemed a stretch. It was. He was 67 when they filmed the episode.
Yeah.
Is he alive today?
No, I believe he died of...
I mean, if you're 67, I mean, he'd been 90 more than 97.
Very old
90,
right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. People live to be over 100. Over 110.
Yes.
I think 116 or something is like the highest.
If he's still around, he'd be very close to being on the Smucker's Jar on the Today Show.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think like I don't know why they decided to make him.
It was a weird.
I mean, it makes no sense. Like he was obviously not 55.
No.
Like I understand like people looked older back then, like because like it's the 90s and like smoking.
Yeah,
and
we hadn't invented youth yet.
Youth, the fountain of youth is not discovered in 1990. But like I get people looked older, but like in no universe was that man 55.
Yeah.
He was lucky to say 65. He looked a little rough for 67. He was old. He's an old guy, which is okay. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, why hide that? Like, why lie?
I wonder if they like put the makeup on him to make him seem younger than he was, but it didn't.
They did an awful job.
Yeah.
If that was the case, a shitty job.
If they did a Dear Evan Hansen where they try so hard to make him younger, they make him look so much older.
I feel like it also makes more sense, like continuity wise. Well, not continuity, like historically in the show's canon, that he was such an established doctor for him to be older, right? Then because when you're 55, you're old, but you're not.
Like 55,
you're still, you have a lot of career left to go.
Yeah, like at 55, you're practicing for like maybe 25 years at that point, like, which obviously is a lot.
Yeah.
But like, there are doctors who've practiced for much longer than like 25 years, like approaching like 40, 50 years. Like, if they're going for this whole like established doctor thing, like 25, yeah, it's a lot, but you can go for more than that. Yeah. And it's.
Well, I wonder if they thought that it would be too much of a stretch for them to say that a 67-year-old man would be able to live while having this ginormous alcohol problem.
That's a good point. And also, like, people didn't live as long back then.
I also did read, and I should have written it down, stat somewhere, that I think someone did the math and was like, if someone his age, even with the 55 age, which again is not his actual age, if they drank as much as he claimed he drank in the courtroom scene, like 6 whiskeys during lunch, apparently he would have been twice the legal limit for driving.
Yeah.
Which is
a lot.
And he's like that every day.
Also, like, I'm sure, like, I mean, maybe it's just me, but, like, I'm sure his tummy hurt a lot.
I'm sure.
And, like, I don't know how he could have hit that.
Before this, like.
Yeah.
Like, if you're having that much alcohol in the course of
I mean, I feel like you get used, like, I feel like over the course, like, say, like, he started, like, drinking when he was, like, I don't know, 30 generously, like when he first started practicing, like when he first became a doctor, like that's 25 years. Like if you get used to that and shit, you know, like.
Well, I feel like your liver at that point will be so degraded that you would.
We get 2 of them, so no, that's kidneys. Never mind. You have 1 liver.
I feel like it would stop working, and then you would just like die after like a year or 2 of this lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, it's got like a super. I mean, people that, like alcoholism exists. Like alcoholics exist, and they live for like a long time. Some of them. So like it's
I
not
think
like
this guy like it was like a little excessive for an alcoholic.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, look, I mean, alcoholism by definition is excessive.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
If you take the population of alcoholics, he's like, the top 2%. So.
Can you look at the stats on that?
Like, what do you mean the top 2%? Like, what do you mean by top 2%?
Among the population of alcoholics, he's the top 2% of the alcoholics in terms of how much he drinks.
The top 2 of the top 1% are drinking all the alcohol.
The alcohol distribution in this country.
So I don't say, like, just generally, like, to say seriously your point. In the population of humans, there's the top 1% of drinkers. And among those top 1% of drinkers, he's the top 2% of that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely forms of alcoholism that are not as insane amounts of alcohol as this character was consuming. Yeah.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's all I've got for the first episode.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any last thoughts before we move on to episode number 2? Okay.
If you're struggling with alcoholism, get help.
Yeah.
Also, if you look 67 at 55, also get help.
So the most recent episode we watched, the season 21 premiere of Law and Order, notably 12-year gap since the most previous episode. NBC canceled the show after season 20 in, I believe, 2010. We had some returning cast members, notably Sam Waterston came back as District Attorney Jack McCoy, and we had Detective Kevin Barnett, played by Anthony Anderson.
Mm-hmm. He was in the original?
Yeah.
He
Like
was
the
for-
later season of the
Yes,
original.
he was recurring in season 18 and then regular for 19 and 20.
Okay. What about the boss lady, Sergeant, or the captain?
She's a new addition. Yeah, all the other characters. So the new ones, the new additions, Detective Frank Cosgrove, played by Jeffrey Donovan of Burn Notice fame.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Kate Dixon, played by Cameron Manheim. EADA, Nolan Price, played by Hugh Dancy. And ADA, Samantha Morin, played by Odella Halevi.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Good cast.
No Jerry Urbach.
No. I think he died before it
He is
got
dead.
canceled, right?
No, he did. He died
Okay.
in. He died in late aughts, I think. Late aughts, mid to late aughts.
Hot?
Aughts.
The 2000s.
00.
Oh!
The audience.
The aughts.
Okay.
That's what they're called.
In like England. Yeah.
I'm not in the know.
Yeah.
There was actually one other returning cast member in that episode. In the scene where they talk to the prosecutor, who, in the main episode, it revolves around a character getting out of prison. Mm-hmm. They're then murdered. There's a scene where the detectives interview the prosecutor who put the man away the first time. That character was ADA Jamie Ross, who was a regular on the show for seasons 7 and 8 back in the day.
So that was the one who was pleading the fifth on the stand?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So season 7 and 8, that was like 90s then, right?
Yeah, that'd been 97, 98.
Interesting.
That was when I was born, 98.
Wow. Yeah, this is a unique show in that it has been on long before any of us were born.
Yeah.
And I think all of us were like 11 or 12 the last time they aired an episode before this.
We're
Great.
90s kids, you know?
Yeah, man, 90s kids. Woo!
What else do we have to bring up? Any thoughts on the show in general? On this episode?
I thought it was weaker, honestly, than the first one. It's obviously the subject matter is a bit, touchy. I felt like it was weird for them to do like something sex crime related in the first episode of Law and Order when like that's like SVU's territory. So it's like,
I will say, going off that point, I watched this episode live when it aired, and I was on Twitter during commercial breaks, and I follow Wolf Entertainment, and I follow enough Law and Order accounts that Twitter just shows me random tweets, and you're not alone in thinking that. In fact, for a lot of the episode, people kept tweeting thinking that Mariska Hargitay's character from SVU, Olivia Benson, was going to make a crossover appearance on it, and people were a little let down that she didn't, and thought it was kind of strange.
It's probably good that she didn't, because they kind of like need to make their own brand, this new show.
But at the same time, it is a little weird that they did something.
They should have, there's like a lot of crimes to do besides sex crimes, so I don't really know why they started off with what has been covered by SVU like extensively the past decade. So.
Yeah, and not only were they kind of doing a plot that SVU has done, arguably they were handling it worse. They didn't handle it with the same decorum that the writers and the whole cast and crew do over at SVU, which odd choice to make their first episode, I would say.
Yeah.
It felt like they were coming on a little intense, particularly with Jeffrey Donovan's character.
Yeah.
Just the sort of hardcore, very conservative. Like like someone said, "I'm not talking to you." I think to him, and he almost beat up some guy on the street.
Yeah, it's like I think they like tried to address the whole like the fun of the police movement in the show, but like they just did an awful job. Like they kind of like touched on it, and it was like his whole burn note Donovan.
Yeah, Jeffrey Donovan.
Yeah.
His character's name is Detective Frank Cosgrove.
Cosgrove, yeah. He I did not like him at all, and like I can't imagine he was in any way meant to be likable. So is he like supposed like Anthony Anderson? I mean, everyone like who doesn't like Anthony Anderson? He's great. But like he was good. But Cosgrove was like, I don't know. Are they trying to replace him eventually? Or are they trying to like have like a character arc where he becomes like more likable, where like he maybe sees the flaws in like the police operations and like he lies to a rape victim and like arrests her on it. It's like kind of messed up and like there's no And I think Anthony Anderson. I forget his. I'm just calling him Anthony Anderson because he kind of goes along with it too. It's like, Anthony, like it's you expect better from Anthony Anderson, the character.
Yeah,
and I'm sure the actor too.
Yeah. Here's his name, Detective Kevin Bart.
Bart.
Bernard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like especially like now it's like got to be careful of like propaganda and stuff, which like Law and Order like intrinsically is, and like they tried to address it and just did an awful job. So a lot of like they really went 0 for 2 on the sexual assault and police issues. So it wasn't great.
Yeah, and then in terms of what's his name again? The
Frank Cosgrove.
Yeah, like his character. I feel like they're trying to make him similar to how Stabler was in early seasons. Very like bad cop, kind of unlikable. I want to see where it goes from there. I don't think it was a terrible episode at all. I think it was very different from the first one. Like it's a lot more dramatic, a lot more cinematic. It's a little maybe too dramatic. Like I think they're stretching like what happens in a courtroom a little bit too much, and there was like a lot of. I think this should have like immediately been a mistrial. Personally, like I don't think the judge must have been biased to not, because.
I think both in both episodes you watch, like I mean obviously like court in real life is boring as heck, so like they have to like dramatize it. Like there's parts in like both in the first episode and this episode where it's like this would never ever be allowed in an actual courtroom. Like this is like an immediate objection, mistrial, something, and like this, I was let it go because it's entertainment. I think no one's like and Law and Order I think is at this point is infamous for how much they stretch courtroom decorum. Yeah. I'm a mock trial city champion, so I have experience in courtrooms.
And in your professional opinion, real court is boring as hell.
It is very boring. I was there. It's boring.
Yeah.
A lot of like procedure that they just skip over.
But you could say like the first episode was closer to how it would actually be compared to the second, because I think there were some things that the prosecution did that went over the line, like way too much, especially when the Cosgrove was his name.
Yeah.
When he like said the testimony of the defendant that was completely inadmissible, like as like discussed before, and they didn't like immediately retrial.
It's like weird because they said like call for mistrial, like that would be immediately granted. You can't like submit on like evidence you like inadmissible evidence and then not be mistrial. That's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
that like I'm trying to suspend my disbelief. That was a little too much. And I don't have much experience with law, and I like that doesn't make sense.
And we are dealing with order.
And like I feel like also like the cop would have known that as well, and he also would have known that would have been a mistrial. Like he knows you can't do that.
Yeah. So
like I don't know. It was just like I don't know.
I think going back to what you said about Stabler and SVU, it did feel like they were definitely trying to. I think in their attempts, both in SVU and in here, to address social issues, they try and have a dichotomy so they can have an opposing voice, sort of have that discussion going back and forth. I think they just went way too far.
I'm glad that they rebooted this show, and I thought this first episode wasn't the best start, just like the original first episode of the original Law & Order wasn't the best start, but there's definitely stuff there that was good that can be built off on, and I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it as the seasons go on.
Yeah. Can I talk about Jack McCoy for a second?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, man, they cut his balls off.
I did not like his character in this.
Yeah,
he was the one who said, "Can you believe it? They're trying to defund the police."
It's like, also, I'm pretty sure like the actor in real life was like he was a big part of a lot of like BLM like protests.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Like he would like I remember he was arrested at like a BLM protest, which is like it's kind of weird for like for him to be like, oh, defunding the police, blah blah blah. It's like ugh.
So I wanted to ask Timmy how the fans of Law & Order thought of the new episode, like since you're on the Twitter and the such.
Interesting. I think.
First off, do they have a name like a Law & Order like fan name like Andy's?
I don't know, but I like to imagine that they're called the Wolfgang or the Wolfpack.
That's good.
Well, there's a blog I know that's called Especially Heinous, so maybe the.
Ooh, that's good. For SVU.
What's heinous like the?
They actually have a.
Hainai.
Yeah, the
Hainai.
They actually did.
The Haina.
Yeah.
The Wolf Entertainment Group actually started a Discord server recently, which I've been meaning to look into.
I get the feeling that place is really toxic.
It might be. Question from a producer.
Okay.
Should Dick Wolf be stopped?
No.
No.
And I don't think it's possible to stop Dick Wolf.
Oh, it is.
I think many have tried at this point to stop Dick Wolf. Like once he got to Chicago, game over.
I think he needs to make more. Like another city, he needs to have like Miami Med, Miami Fire,
Miami Vice.
Yeah. Well, that's already taken, but you know.
Wait, when?
For a while ago. You know the Pink Show. With the surfing.
The Pink Show?
With the surfing.
No, that's Hawaii 5-0, bro.
No, there's the Pink Show.
Like the singer?
Miami Vice. Or is that a movie?
What are you talking about?
Both.
The Pink Show, Pink and Blue.
Pink and blue, like.
I think Amir's picturing a Hawaii shirt.
Because
that is what they wore on the show.
Hawaii 5-0, yeah.
But that's in Hawaii, not Miami.
Yeah, I know, but
they wear Hawaiian shirts in Florida a lot. Like
Well,
Dexter.
the
On
old-
Dexter, they constantly.
I thought Dexter was in the woods.
That's the new one. I haven't seen that because I don't have Showtime.
Oh,
Wait,
so
what was the question?
Dick Wolf should not be stopped.
Oh,
Dick Wolf, yeah, Dick Wolf.
Expand to another city and make 5 more shows.
Dick Wolf can't be stopped, won't be stopped.
No.
He can't stop, never stop.
I mean, we're at that point in Risk when you're like, if you're playing Risk with your friends,
My
and
guy,
your one friend
have you
has
ever played Risk?
has Asia,
No one plays
Australia,
Risk, dude.
and like Europe at that point, you can't beat them. I play.
Maybe,
but, like,
I
Dick
trust
Wolf
you.
Has all of Tuesday night on CBS with the FBI shows, all of Wednesday night prime time with Chicago.
Wait. FBI is on CBS?
I believe so. It's not on NBC.
and
How much time does this guy
in the-
have?
It's in the same universe as Law and Order?
Yeah, I believe there's one crossover one.
It's a
cross-network crossover.
It's a cross-network crossover?
I know. Only Dick Wolf. Only Dick Wolf can
His
pull that off.
power.
That's it for this episode of Spoiler Room. But make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can catch our next episode with epic highs and lows. Bow.
So Timmy, you want to be the guitar?
Isn't it all guitar?
Well, I mean like the.
I like the horns.
I forget the rest of it. Oh, I thought that was the practice.
Yeah, we're doing the actual
No, we're
one.
leaving.